Well, welcome to another video. We're back again. Today we have a sit-down one. It's coming up to championship time and players are wanting to spend a wee bit more time focus on the performance and getting ready for game day, even though they should be doing it week in, week out throughout the season anyway, but that's beside the point. When it comes to game day, like, the best thing a player can have going into that is confidence. Confidence that they've got the work done, confidence in their preparation in the lead up to that week, and just confident they're actually going to be in a position to perform on the day itself. And when you know that you've got everything ticked off, you just have that freedom to play. When you know you've done all the training, nutrition's been on point, sleep's been on point, recovery's been on point, and you're feeling good going into the game, it's a powerful place to be, and that's where all players want to find themselves, especially at the business end of the year, come championship time. In this video, there's going to be 3 key areas that we're going to cover today. We've got training and structure, nutrition and recovery, and we've got mindset and mental performance. So first up, training and structure. When it comes to training season, there's method in the madness. If you have a plan there, you want to stick to the plan. It's been put together in that way for a reason. But if you don't have a plan, you need to get one. With that plan as well, you need to be fluid and you need to be adaptable. The GAA is notorious for training sessions and games being cancelled, being changed, and being changed last minute. So you need to be able to think on your feet, you need to be agile, and you need to be able to adapt whatever things do change. When we're looking at a week, obviously game day is the big one, but the rest of the week still counts. Loads of GAA players fall into the trap of going, right, I just need to be fresh and ready to go for this game, so they neglect the training throughout the rest of the week. If you do that enough weeks in a row over a sustained period of time, your performance is going to start to dip. If you're just focused on being ready for one day of the week and you're not training or not ticking the boxes elsewhere, you're only going to go one direction. Yes, you might feel fresh into the game, but that's whenever you start falling into that challenge of going, I actually feel unfit, I feel slow, and you're just wondering in your head, why do I feel this way? I haven't done anything throughout the week, I should feel flat. But it's that classic case of if you don't use it, you lose it. When it comes to structuring your training throughout the week, there's so many different ways that you can put it together. But the big thing is you want to plan it around your team training, around your games, so you're getting the most out of each session. You still have time to recover in between, and ultimately you're ready to perform come game day. So I'm going to throw a couple of examples up on the screen here, and you can screenshot them, have a read through them, and take which one works best for you. If you have a look at these couple of slides, you'll see that the big thing is you want to get your speed work in before team training. You want to get your gym work in on the days in between. So you may still have a wee bit of fatigue going into those gym sessions, but at least it's not taken away from your team sessions, or it's not taken away from the speed outputs. You want to be as fresh as possible going into them. And then we also want to structure our weekend like a high, medium, and low sequence. So we want to keep our high days high, which is going to be like some of our speed work, our team training, our game days. There are high intensity days that's going to take the most out of the body. Then after that, we can have either a medium or a low day. A medium day is probably going to be your gym work. It's not going to take too much out of you, but it's also, you're probably going to feel a wee bit sore a day or two afterwards. And then we have our low intensity days where that's either pure recovery, maybe it's upper body gym, maybe it's a wee bit of light aerobic conditioning, or maybe even a primer, getting yourself ready for the game. So the big thing is, as I say, you want to be as fresh as possible, get into those high days. You want a lower day the next day to recover, and then you want to be as fresh as possible going into your games. As I said, there's so many different ways that you can set up your week, but as long as you can understand what you're trying to achieve, give a good enough reason or explanation as to why you put the week together, then you should be grand. If you've completely no idea in terms of what needs to go into your week and where you're putting what, it's probably best that you get a coach who knows what you're talking about, and we'll do that job for you. Point number 2 is going to be nutrition and recovery. When it comes to nutrition in season, ideally the body composition is going to be a good enough spot, so all we need to focus on is purely performance and recovery. But if we still need to drop a bit of body fat or gain a bit of size, we can still do that in season, but we just need to be a wee bit more sensible with it. So when it comes to dropping body fat, we want to be sensible in how we do it so that we're maximising performance and we're not taking away from our energy or recovery or just running ourselves into the ground. In terms of the rate of fat loss, we're looking at around 0.5 to 1% of body weight loss per week. And then in terms of how we set that up in the week, we want to have 5 days of the week where we're in our deficit, and then we want to have 2 days of the week where they're our performance days, which is going to be your carb load, and then obviously the game day itself, where we bring the calories up to maintenance to allow us to get more carbs in so that we're well fueled going into it. Overall, throughout the week then, we're in a deficit, so we're losing body fat, but then we're still making sure that we're primed and ready to go for game day itself. But the big question to ask is, how lean do you actually need to be? If it does get to a point where just chasing an extra 1 or 2% of body fat is going to actually take away from your performance, rather than having the calories that wee bit higher, still staying lean, but making sure that we're fueling and recovering effectively, rather than just trying to get as lean as possible and then run ourselves into the ground. Energy's low, recovery's low, performance is going to be poor as well. On the flip side though, when it comes to building muscle, it is a bit of a slower process. We're looking at around 0.5 to 1% of body weight gain per month. In terms of the nutrition side of things, you're going to be eating plenty of food, eating plenty of protein, eating plenty of carbs, so recovery is likely going to be good, you're going to be well fueled. But with that, we need to maybe look at what we're doing in our training. If you're trying to gain a lot of size and you're hitting a lot of volume and intensity in the gym, that could then take away from your recovery. Then your energy's going to be suffering a bit, and we're probably just going to feel a bit fatigued and not as fresh getting into your sessions or games. As a result of that, probably not hitting the outputs that we want from the explosive side of things. So again, we just need to manage your expectations and weigh up the pros and cons of each one and get clear on what the actual primary objective is and going with that then. But overall, when it comes to nutrition in season, there's one key principle you need to be thinking about, and it's don't let the tank run empty. And what I mean by that is the amount of food that we're eating needs to match our energy expenditure. So if we're expending serious amounts of energy but we're not topping the stores back up, as the week goes on, we're going to get less and less and less fueled, and we're going to feel like we're running on empty by the end of the week. Even if we do a massive carb load the day before a game and our tank's so empty from the week's training, we might only be getting to like half full, and then we're going to burn through that within the first 15, 20, 30 minutes of a game. And that's when that feeling of being coming up to half time, or just literally nothing left in the legs coming into the second half, that's probably why you're having that feeling. Either you haven't done the work or you haven't done the fueling properly. If you've done all the training, you've got everything ticked off, and you're wondering why you still feel unfit throughout the week, it's either you're not managing your training load effectively throughout the week, or else you're under fueling in terms of nutrition. Basically, we want to keep the tank topped up throughout the week. So we want to have, if we've a high intensity session, we want to have enough food to actually fuel that session and recover from it. And the big thing is like your fueling is your recovery, and your recovery is your fueling. So after a session that's been big, we want to top those stores back up, and then that leaves us feeling a lot better going into your next session then. There's just a few kind of numbers to look at to make sure that you are fueling properly and getting enough carbs in for those sessions. For a training session, depending on the intensity of it, you probably want around 3 to 5 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight. Obviously going for the higher number of carbs if it's a more intense session. And then looking at your games, you're probably around 6 to 8 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight the day before a game and game day itself. The day before, you'd obviously be fueled up and topped up going into it, but then the day itself to, yes, get a wee bit in to keep yourself topped up on the day, but more importantly after the game to start that recovery process, start that refueling process so that you're ready then for your next session a couple of days later after the game. Note here, for women and for female athletes, it's generally a wee bit lower end, and you might want to go like 3 to 4 grams of carbs throughout the week, or 2 to 4 grams of carbs, and then come game day itself, anywhere from sort of 3 to 5 grams of carbs tends to be the sweet spot. Just from my experience and from coaching different women, they found that trying to get the higher amount of carbs in, they just don't seem to digest it or respond as well to getting that amount of carbs in compared to men. With everything I'm chatting about here, if you want to see this in a practical setting and me actually doing it myself, check out the quarter-final preparation video. I'll run through my whole game day routine and the build-up to a game over the weekend. As well as that, when it comes to carb loading, if you haven't a clue what you're doing or you need a bit more guidance and structure with that, check out the link in the description of a free carb loading guide that explains it all for you and gives you a few sample days of eating based on your body weight and how much food you should get in. So head to the link in the description and let me know what you found it. Just a quick bit then on recovery. Recovery can be overcomplicated so much for players, and generally when players think recovery, they go straight for the likes of the ice baths, the saunas, the massages, which are all great and have a place. But when it comes to recovery, you need to be nailing the big rocks first, and with the big rocks, there's 3 of them. Obviously managing an effective training strategy throughout the week, managing the load, not running yourself into the ground, not leaving yourself burnt out. Nutrition, as just mentioned, making sure that you're well fueled going into sessions, making sure that you're topping the stores back up, and making sure that you're well fueled going into a game, but then also replenishing those stores after a big session or after a game so it doesn't impact your performance in the next session. And then finally, sleep. Getting good quality and good amount of sleep, 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep per night, is obviously going to allow you to recover, allow you to feel fresh, and allow you to perform at your best come the next training session or game day itself. As I always say, when it comes to recovery, focus on the big rocks first and then add those nice wee add-ons after that. So the third and final thing we're going to cover is mindset and mental performance in the build-up to a game. The big thing about mindset and mental performance is finding what works for you and running with it. For me, I like to be in control of as much as I possibly can. Anything outside of my control, I can cope with, but anything that's directly in my control, I want to have it dialed in. I want to be on top of it, get into a game. I just feel like when I have that control and I have that structure, it just gives me a lot more freedom to actually perform come game day. You feel later, you feel like you've done everything. You know that going into the game, there's literally nothing more that you could have done to perform. So it starts really simply with planning my week, planning my day, writing down what sessions I have on, what food I'm going to be eating, when I'm doing those sessions, so that I get everything done and then come into a game and know that all the boxes ticked. As I say, I feel that we get later get into the game then. When it comes to game day itself, the big thing is just actually protecting your energy throughout the day. Again, this is down to personal preference and what works for you. For me, on game day, lying on the sofa, being cooped up in the house, watching TV all day is just a complete nightmare. I need to be out, I need to have my mind taken off things, and just need to go about my day as normal. Whereas you've probably seen the Pirlo quote where when he won the World Cup, he was sitting in the hotel room playing the PlayStation and then went out and won the World Cup that evening. That would be an absolute disaster for me. I need to get out, move it about, in the fresh air, and I just keep my mind occupied. So I like to go about my day as normal and then bring my mind towards the game the closer I get to throw it. So on game day itself, I actually like to do a bit of journaling as well, just to get any thoughts that are in my head out of the page and just, as I say, it comes out of my head, takes a weight off the shoulders, I just feel a bit lighter going into the game. There's a couple of ways that I go about this. First thing is just like a bit of a brain dump. So I'll grab the notepad, grab the pen, and let you just write anything that comes into my head, spill it all into the page, get it from my head out into the open, so it's gone out of the head, it's not taking up any space. And then after I've done that, I have a couple of prompts that I go through just to really focus on the game and focus on my role. The first thing is my role, getting clear on what job I have to do on the day, like what's expected of me and what I expect of myself. Second thing is like, who do I want to show up as? Like, what version of myself do I show up as? The majority of GA players may be the soundest people in the world off the pitch, but when they go onto the pitch, they almost have to like change into like an alter ego to be a nasty bastard essentially on the pitch. And the third and final thing then is just any kind of personal messages or any wee matches that you have. I just like to go through a couple of things in my head, how I want to show up, how I want to feel, and just any key messages for maybe the job that I have to do, or just to kind of remind myself of focus on the task at hand. Again, this is personal preference. You don't have to do this. I've just found it as a useful tool for myself from working with a sports psychologist in the past, and anytime that I have done it, I feel a lot better going into the games. Now, it doesn't always mean that I have a great performance, but again, if I control everything that I possibly can, I feel like a lot better going into the games, and it gives me a better chance of performing in my own head. So there you have it. Cheers for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below what your biggest takeaway was. As I said, with everything in the video, the big thing is personal preference, finding what works for you. But for me, it's ticking as much boxes as possible, controlling everything that I possibly can, just to feel in control going into the game. Word of warning, if you're trying to do all this stuff and you're trying to do all this mindset stuff and mental preparation stuff before a game, but you haven't actually done the physical work or you haven't looked after nutrition for an extended period of time, you can do all the journaling in the world, write all the prompts in the world, but it's not going to work unless you actually have the work done. So I'm going to leave you on that one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.